Okay, we'll start. We're on verse number 19. So before we go into a meditation, to prepare our hearts, we think these thoughts to ourselves. And here we go. Now I, okay, the now I is a translation of Tibetan Dena, okay? And it means now we're shifting subjects, okay? Now I, okay, now I and every living creature. Can you put up, please, the image for, I think it's 20. Yeah. I and every living creature, every one of them, my own mother, have already suffered here in the cycle of life in general, for time with no beginning. And more particularly, we have each already been through a million kinds of pain in the three realms of misery. So, we're supposed to, before we meditate, we're supposed to, what do you call it? Acknowledge that life is painful, okay? And that there's a reason to meditate, all right? The ultimate reason for meditating is to help ourselves and other people get out of pain. But to do that, you have to admit to yourself that life is painful, okay? And I don't know, I always wonder if there's some rich lady in the world who hasn't had anything bad go bad yet, like they got to 30 or 35 or 40 and nothing bad ever happened to them. But as I get older, I don't think there is such a person. Even if you have a lot of money, something goes wrong, or you see terrible death of someone near to you, or this is very common, okay? I chose this photo for the meditation song. That's my own interpretation. You can do your own, okay? To me, this photo it summarizes life for me. And I first saw this photo, I don't know, I think I was 20 years old. And I saw it in a book somewhere, and I never forgot it. So this is a very beautiful young lady. I don't know the story. She's well dressed. She has gloves on. She has her makeup. Her face is beautifully done. She has her 1950s stockings on. High quality blouse and skirt. And she went up to the top of the Empire State Building and jumped off. And she landed on a car. And she crushed the car. And she died. And it looks like she's sleeping. And it looks like the metal of the car is almost the sheets, like crumpled sheets. But, and I don't know the story, and I think I don't want to know the story, because I think of it in my own way. I don't need to know her story. I can tell you her story. She was happy. She had everything. She was comfortable. She was good looking. And I imagine she was successful. But she found life too much. My own brother killed himself also, so I think about it a lot, What is it about life which is so overwhelming and so painful that a nice normal person would jump off the Empire State Building, And in this tradition of meditation, before you meditate, you must acknowledge how things are. And the way things are, we'll go through it right now. Next page. Basically, let's put it simply. Even if you can not have financial difficulties, even if you don't get serious health problems, even if your relationships are all smooth and cheerful, which I don't know anyone like that exactly. Well, maybe. Then still you have to lose everything, okay? Most people work for their whole life. They have a career. They build up a business, or they build up a job, and they build up a family. If you're lucky, you can buy some property, build a house, have kids. And then that's a successful life. That's about the best it can be. You become financially, independent or strong. You have a home. you have a good family, and then you die. And then they die. Okay? And then the house is sold. And I don't know, in my mother's case, who we lived half an hour from here, okay? We grew up half an hour from here. She worked her whole life. She was a school teacher. And she finally bought her own house, $15,000, I remember. And they built it. It was Northern and 19th Avenue, which at that time was the edge of the city. And she bought her house. And you know, she did the American dream. Then she died. And we sold the house within 6 months. We tried to keep it and rent it, and it didn't work, and we sold it. Then we spent the money. And that was the end of it. Her whole life's work, you know, I don't know, 30 years of work, was gone in 6 months, okay? So this is our life, okay? This is our life. That's the story of her life. It left untended, your life will drain away and you will die. And all the things you've done will also disappear. And what meaning is, that's if everything goes well and it never goes well, okay? Usually you have some financial disaster in your life, or relationship disaster, or health disaster. Okay, life is painful. We should recognize that, and we should admit it, and we shouldn't pretend, and we shouldn't avoid. I spent a long time on the internet trying to find a picture of a dead body, and I couldn't. They had like killings and drug dealers shot, or, you know, famous people assassinated, but just a picture of anybody who died, it's very difficult to find a photo on it. It's really weird. People don't want to think about that, okay? In this tradition of meditation and spiritual development, it's important, first of all, to acknowledge and to admit that life is dangerous and painful. Because then you can really help other people. Then you are free to address the bigger problems of life, okay? Working is good. Making money is good. Having a family is good. Eating good restaurants is, I like it. But we also have to take care of the bigger questions in life, okay? Because they will, if you don't, they will hurt you. They will always hurt you, okay? Secondly, let's go on. Still though it is a difficult, verse 21, page 16. Still though it is a difficult thing to say how deep this pain will continue to go, how far its edge can spread. So you've had problems in your life. But there will be more, okay? There will be more. And as you get older, and as things start to fall apart in your body and things like that, you will see more pain than you have seen so far. Okay, that's the nature of the life. Okay, and we believe that it continues after you die. So you can, maybe you draw a little comfort from the idea that it will naturally end in a certain amount of time. But according to our belief, it doesn't. It goes on. After you die, it goes on. Okay, and so this one time, I have attained the body of a human, a perfect body, a perfect opportunity, impossible to find, but once found, capable of great things. So, well, let's go a little more. And this one time, I have met with the priceless teachings of a Buddha, impossible to find. So in our tradition, the first mental warm-up for meditation, it's called the marriage of fear and faith. Okay? The marriage of fear and faith. All right? Fear means what? Life is painful. And if you haven't had major troubles yet, they're on their way. Okay? Something in your body will fail. You will have a bump somewhere, or your eyes will fail, your ears will fail, and then something will come. In your body, inside your body right now, lay already the seeds for the destruction of your life. And how that will happen is not going to be easy. Something very painful and something very depressing will happen. to each of us. The body's nature is that inside the skin now is something that will kill you, and the process will be painful. And the process of leaving and losing everything is very, very painful. Okay, we have that already. That's the fear half. Okay, what's the faith half? The faith half is very, very profound. Okay, these teachings, what we do, our business, our product of these teachings is a path which it is claimed can save you from that. Okay, it is claimed in our tradition that if you follow the practices well, you don't have to go through those things. Your body will change into light. You will become an angel. It's possible. Okay? These teachings are designed to do that. So really, according to our belief, you always... What's that Robert Frost poem? I came to a path, two paths, right? I forget how it goes. Path less... I was going through a forest and I came to a split in the path. And one side was well worn and looked safe. And the other side looked a little like an adventure. And I went for the adventure path, Maybe I'm going to get scratched a little bit or it's going to be unexpected, but I'd rather do that one. So in a way, you are always at a crossroads in your life, okay? You can go on with a, quote, normal life. You can do your career. You can try to buy property. You can try to have a family. You can try to be happy with only those things, okay? And in the end, it will end, and your body will kill you. Your body will kill you, and you will lose everything that you spent your life. It's depressing how fast it dissolves after you're dead. It might not take a week for everything you assembled to disassemble. You can take that path, and everyone's going that way. In Phoenix there are 5 million people. Tonight there are 50 people here. 1 out of 100,000 is here. The rest are doing something else. That's the well-worn path, and it leads to... My mom's house was sold in 6 months, and everything was lost. All her life's work was lost in 6 months. Or you can take this other less... What do you call it? The path less traveled, which it is claimed leads to a state where you are enlightened and your body is made of light and you are able to help countless beings. Not just in this world, but in many worlds which you cannot see right now. You can reach a place where you can serve countless living creatures in worlds that you have no dream of right now. You cannot even imagine them. Okay? So you have a choice. That's the faith part. The road everyone else is taking is the fear part, okay? It's scary. It leads to destruction. There's obviously no solution that way. I don't think so. I mean, you just get old and die and your stuff gets sold. And that's the end of the story. This path, it is claimed. You can have faith. You can have hope. Path of hope, path of fear. Understanding that the left-hand path or the other path is frightening allows you to take this path of hope, a new path of hope, okay? Is that hope for real? Does it really work? You have to try it. I believe you have to try it, At least, what I used to say to myself when I was young and I first went in the monastery? I said, at least I'm taking a shot. At least I'm trying to do something more than just eat, sleep, and die. In 20 years I may decide it didn't work out, but I would rather do that than quietly die. Let me at least try something. It sounds like this might be a real path. So I don't have anything to lose. See what I mean? If there's a 10% that works, it's logical to try, rather than just simply quietly die, get old and die. Okay? And as you learn more, you learn that this path is a very valid path, and it does work. And in your meditations, you can confirm that. So that process of recognizing the danger and of choosing a possible hope is called taking refuge. In Buddhism, it's called taking refuge or shelter. You don't go for protection to somebody unless those two conditions are present. Number one, there's some kind of danger. Number two, you believe they can help you. And that's the two requirements for seeking protection, seeking a path which can protect you. Okay? Got it? So that's the first of the two warm-ups for meditation. It is represented on the next page, 18, by the two girls under an umbrella. Okay? They have some protection. Okay? Refuge, going for shelter. Just think of the two girls under the umbrella. Okay? They have an umbrella. They are protected. Right? You can be protected by these practices, I believe. You can be protected from death, sickness, old age, if you learn these practices. Okay? They become an umbrella for you in the rainfall of life. Okay? Otherwise, you're going to get wet. Okay? Got it? So I tried to select images in the text that you would always remember. That I think the image of the lady on the car you will never forget. And if you do your meditation every morning, if you use this book every morning, I want you to see that picture 500 times on 500 different days. And I want you to think about, why did a beautiful, young, healthy, well-dressed person decide to leave this life, to try to leave this life? Okay, what was it? What did she know? Maybe she was right. I often think that about my brother. He shot himself. And then he was so intelligent, super intelligent. And then I think, maybe he just thought it out carefully and saw there's no way, there's no future here. He didn't want to go through the thing of collecting things and then die and have the kids sell them in 6 months. You see? So I want you to think about that. You cannot make progress in this path without admitting the truth about life, that it's suffering and it will end in suffering. To go through relationships which break up, to have the stress of a job and losing the job, or the fear of losing your partner or your children or your parents, this is pretty much the story of life. Okay? If there's a possible way out, I say it's worth it to try. Okay? And that's the umbrella. That's the meaning of the umbrella. So in this tradition, you don't start a meditation without thinking about the reality of life. Okay? Because that motivates you to meditate. Okay? People tell me they don't have time to meditate. That's like saying I don't have time to eat. It's not true. You have to eat or you will die. Okay? And if you don't meditate, you'll die the other way. Okay? And I'm not trying to scare you, I'm just trying to give you some hope. The people who are not in this room are kidding themselves, in my opinion. Okay? They're just kidding themselves. They are purposely ignoring what's obvious because it's too painful to admit it, that this is how it's all going to end. Okay? Don't be depressed. We're going to get out of it. All right. Now, one last thing, and then I think I would like to take comments or questions. All right? Comments on what? How you'd like to see something interpreted so far. I just want your ideas. I want you to start thinking. And then questions about anything, about your life, or advanced Buddhist philosophy, or the last person who yelled at you, other things, okay? Anything, all right? So let's do one little piece and then we'll go on. I'll read the next piece. I think we stopped at verse 24. I must work then from this one moment on to reach enlightenment, perfect, complete, ultimate freedom, free of all the pain of this endless circle. And if I fail, then there is no choice, one more time through a life of pain. And this time it could be in the hells, as an animal, or a spirit driven by craving. This is a reference to what Buddhists believe happened to you after you die, okay? And I'm not asking you to believe in it, and I'm not trying to sell it to you. We believe that your mind does not stop when the body stops. That it's connected to the body, but it has an independent existence. And it will continue after the body dies. I'm not trying to prove that tonight, but it's possible, right? Why does Hamlet stay his hand? And by something put an end to it. He has a knife in his hand. He's thinking to kill himself. And he says, he's like, yeah, I could stop it all right now. But, what's he say after that? And perforce to dream, I think. Perchance to dream, meaning what? Maybe it will continue. Maybe the dream will continue after I kill myself. He stops. He's a chicken, right? He can't take life. But when he gets to taking his life, he can't bear life. But when he gets to taking his life, he chickens out again. Why? He says, maybe it will continue, okay? Maybe it will go on. So I'm not trying to prove that to you tonight. But of course, there's certain odds that it's true that you go on. Okay? In the Buddhist opinion, the fact that you're here proves it goes on. But I'm not trying to convince you of that. Suffice to say that it's possible that the pain continues after you die. Suffice to say that suicide is a foolish thing to do, because if you're alive, you can try to transform your body. If you die, you may go to another place where you don't have that chance. Okay? Possible. And so the beings here before me, my Lama and the 3 jewels, possess the power to protect me from this pain. At this point in the meditation preparation, you are supposed to imagine that right behind you are your mother and your father. They are sitting right here. You can't see them. They're out of your, peripheral vision, but they are, oops, sorry, Dad. They are sitting right behind you. And behind them is a crowd of people that stretches to the horizon. Okay? Billions of beings sitting behind them. You are at the apex. You are at the front of a group of millions of people sitting with you in meditation. Okay? And you are up in the front, and your mom and dad are here, and all the other ones are behind you. And those humans represent all the creatures of this planet, human or not. Fish, birds, bugs, javelina, cotamundis, rattlesnakes. Okay? In their outer form, they are human in this meditation. But they represent all the creatures of this planet, human or animal. Okay? Fish, birds, all in a human form. Okay? And all suffering. All of them doomed to die. All of them doomed to get old. All of them already having things inside their body that will kill them. Okay? Billions of suffering people. Okay? Creatures. And they're like all hoping that you're going to do something. You see, no pressure, okay? And your dad and mom who served you so well, they're the first ones. You know, they're the ones who are counting on you the most, and then behind them are the rest of them. Okay, so they're all there. So when you get to verse 27, and it doesn't say it in the verse, you should have this in your notes at the end of your copy. You are sitting you are at the front of a huge triangle of all the creatures in the world, and they are depending on you. Okay? You are the one who's in a situation where you could help. You have some kind of crazy path that might help, because the choice is nothing. There are no other choices. Okay? All right. Verse 27. I too then must become a Buddha, a completely enlightened being, for the sake of every single living creature, each one my own mother. Okay? And I'll finish in 2 minutes and we'll go. We'll get your suggestions for the performance. But that's why I put the other photo on page, 18? And it's a child drinking from their mother's breast. Okay? And this reflects a Buddhist teaching that your mind, your spirit, your soul, if you want to call it your soul, has been here for millions of lifetimes. You have passed through this world millions of times and other worlds. And you have lived countless lives as countless beings. I always joke around and say, you've been Miss America. Every guy in this room, you've been Miss America like a zillion times. You've also been president of the United States zillions of times. You've also been Hitler zillions of times and killed 6 million people. You've done everything countless times. Okay? It's true. I'm not trying to freak you out. I have reason to believe it. Someday if you meditate well, you will see it. I believe that. But hear it. At least hear it. You have been here millions of times. And you have been everything. And you've done every kind thing and you've done every cruel thing. Countless times. Okay? And you and I have been everything to each other countless times. And I have drunk milk from your breast, and you have drunk milk from my breast countless times. Okay? And that's true of every person you ever met, and every animal you ever petted, and every bug you ever smashed on your windshield. Okay? They fed you from their own breast, and they sustained your life and took care of you. And you did them also. Okay? So I want you, whenever you meditate, if you don't have time to read this whole ritual, which I understand, it's true. Very few of us have that kind of time. Maybe do it once a week or something on Saturday or Sunday. But at least, you know what you could do? Flip through and look at the photos. And then meditate. Okay? That's an easy way. And I think it's valid. You know, to me, the photo of the child is worth, 100 Tibetan verses, The photo's enough to remind me, I drank milk from the breast of the last insect that smashed into my windshield. Okay? I will remember. I will honor that. Okay? And as I mentioned on this last weekend, for those who weren't there, this is a great meditation when you're having trouble with somebody, okay? Someone, your ex, whatever it was, boyfriend or girlfriend, wife, husband, business partner, okay? Anyone that you have a really difficult, bitter relationship with, I advise you during meditation to attempt a visualization of you drinking from their breast, okay? Even if they were a guy, okay? Because you have, and you did. Okay? They bore you from their womb countless times. The person you have the most trouble with in this life right now, usually is X something. They have breastfed you countless times. In the moment you visualize that, it's very hard to dislike them the way you did before that. Okay? It's very difficult to dislike a person 100% if you can pretend that you drank milk from their breast. Okay? Try. I try it. It worked for me. I only hate them 95% now. Okay? All right. I'm not just kidding. I don't hate people. All right. I'd like to stop there tonight. Okay? You know the pictures now. You have to just flip through the photos sometimes. The little girl is sitting correctly in meditation. The Buddha's hand is controlling the 4 demons. Those are all the lamas of the lineage there. The lady, she admitted what's life, and she killed herself. She saw it. She confronted it, and she decided to try to end it, right? We believe you don't end it, but anyway. And then the two girls have some protection against those problems. And the child at the breast means if you're going to free yourself, you can't ignore other people. Okay? That would be like eating a big Thanksgiving dinner with 50 other people who couldn't afford it. You know? Imagine sitting in a restaurant eating a nice French meal or something. It's surrounded by starving people. It's not fun. You can't enjoy the dinner, okay? If you learn how to get yourself out of these problems, you can't abandon the other people who fed you at their breast in all those lifetimes, okay? It doesn't work. It doesn't work that way. Whatever problems you're going to have when the cancer takes you or starts to grow in your body, everyone has those problems. You can't fix your problem and say good luck to the rest of the people on the Titanic and jump in your little boat and sail away, you know. You can't do that. It's not right, okay? You have to, if you find a path, and if you practice that path, and if it works for you, then you must share it. You can't just tell everybody else good luck, you know, under the water in the Atlantic. You know, you can't just bail out, leave other people, right? They have fed you milk, you owe them, okay? Okay. Give me a verse number and tell me what you think would be cool to do. It's not binding, okay? I'm just curious if anybody had a thought. Do you have an extra mic? Do you guys have an extra mic you can share?
Check. One, check.
And then we'll go home in about 10 minutes, okay? We're all tired. We had a long weekend. Very emotionally draining, powerful weekend with a lot of beautiful people. Please, you ready?
Hi.
And then Rob has to keep notes.
I don't know the verse because I don't actually have the book. So you just started speaking about the now I, the suffering of, marriage of fear and faith. I just think that would be a good play, drama.
Okay.
Sort of finding somebody realizing their fear and then finding their teacher and working through that.
Cool. A little vignette, theatrical vignette, in which someone expresses their fears and then finds a teacher. Okay, I like it. The director is taking notes. No kidding. Okay, somebody else. Come. Bertha has one.
I'm sorry. On verse 7, the preliminaries, and just each act like in a play, each one of them.
You mean say again how?
Okay, on verse 7, the preliminaries, straighten up so each one of them act them out in a play.
Okay.
Like
the Lama on the throne, and like that?
Yeah, each.
Okay.
Just act each one of them.
Okay, yeah. Good. Next. Don't be shy. Help. By the way, this week it's not a Lama standing up here teaching. It's a group thing. And you gotta come up with some cool stuff. Right.
I think it would be cool to act out the four distractions and the overcoming of them. Like you could have someone sitting in meditation and being tempted by beautiful women or money and
okay,
things
good.
like that. That would be
the four demons.
Have them
good.
Show that. Would be good.
Cool. A small theatrical, few-minute piece in which a meditator overcomes the four demons one by one. Cool. Yeah. By the way, the advice I got from my teachers about this idea was they pointed out that there would be no audience. The plan is that we make something that we do in this room. We perform it in this room for the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas who are invisible. I like to think of them hovering up near the ceiling, but we are going to do an act of faith. We're going to do a performance for people that we can't see, and each one of us will do something, not for the people, but for the enlightened beings. And they're like sitting there and saying, oh, I like that song. I have to pick that one up on iTunes, okay? All right? And then my teacher said, we're going to drop our idea that people are watching me and I'm performing. It's between us and God. Each person is performing for God or Buddha or whatever you want to say. Like, I'm not going to be nervous in my song or my piece because I'm not doing it for that. I'm not thinking about how I look to you. It's between me and these divine beings, and it's an offering. And so there shouldn't be any nervousness or shyness. Okay, next.
I had a dream this morning, and one of my brothers, he was holding me, and I was supposed to relax completely. So he was taking me through some motions as though we were in the water, but I just had to completely let go and relax, even to the point I was like drooling on my shirt, and I just trusted him, so I completely relaxed. And then when he let me go, I did this some kind of dance where I just didn't have any joints, or I don't know, there was some kind of thing where I could just completely move with perfect freedom. And so I thought that would be good for doing this verse 27 and 28. Because I thought that once he did that to me, I wanted to do that to other people.
Okay.
And so here it says, I too then must become a Buddha, completely enlightened being for the sake of every single living creature, my mother. To help me do it, I take my shelter now in my Lama and in the Triple Gem. So maybe some kind of dance for that, where someone is holding, like your teacher is holding you, and then you become liberated and you can help other people.
Oh, that's nice. Nice image. Yeah. A dance where your teacher is... I think, from your description, I'm thinking of the Pieta statue, where she's holding her Christ, or just like supporting them, and then suddenly he's free or something like that. And then he can help other people, or she can help other people. Anyone else?
This was verse 24.
Okay.
I was sort of picturing, a stage of people in confusion, and one by one, and they're all running from something, and then one by one they sort of take the point in the beginning of the pyramid of people in front, but when they're at the front, they sort of, I'm doing it, and they take turns though being that person in the front. There's not just one person, so they all take turns and they show their expression.
Cool. Hagoti. I get your picture. Like, it'd be nice on a stage to have the pyramid, and the person in front is somehow, to me, they'd be more calm than the rest. Like, they'd be somehow found peace, and the others are still agitated. And then they might rotate, and then one on the different side of the triangle comes out to the front, and that person has peace, but the people behind them don't, or something like that. Like, they're an example. Yeah. Excuse me, but the triangle would rotate, and there'd be a new person at the head again. Yeah, that'd be nice.
I don't know where the verse is, but it came to me while you were teaching tonight. There's a poem by Pablo Neruda, and it's about where poetry came from. So in my mind, I kept imagining reading that poem, but next to me is maybe one of the someone speaking Spanish, the line, kind of going line for line, and it's sort of this idea that he wasn't sure where poetry came from. He sort of turned the corner, and it just sort of came out of nowhere and hit him. And so I felt like it was somewhere in the going for shelter part about using that as my interpretation of shelter.
Cool.
As an individual poem.
Yeah. By the way, the things we create don't have to be our own. You could play a recorded song by someone else that you think is good in that place. You're my wonder, whoa. That song's in my head because we heard it in yoga the other day. And I think it's some kind of refuge song. You're my shelter, you see. So you could choose a song that already exists and just play it for us. Okay? I like that. You could use a piece of video. I'm going to show you an important piece of video tomorrow called Harry Met Sally and, other instructional videos. And you can choose. It doesn't have to be a creation. It could be something that's your favorite minute out of a movie or your favorite song. And to me, I take my favorite song and I force it into one of the verses. Okay. Yeah. Anyone else?
It was verse 7 and 8. I just visualized a beautiful painting of, Buddha sitting on top of the moon and the sun with the lions. But you said it was the personal Lama inside that we should see in our meditation. And it was a mix between the traditional Buddha and my own personal Lama for me coming out. It was a nice mix between the two, and I just think it would be a beautiful painting.
Yeah, by the way, you're welcome to go out and buy some paints. You're welcome to get a canvas. You're welcome to do it on a computer and Photoshop it. Don't limit yourself, okay? You're welcome to paint something. We're going to be taking the afternoons and doing this thing for 4 or 5 days. And you're welcome to just bring your own canvas and work on it the idea is that you get 4 or 5 days to work on what you'd like to do. Okay? Good? I could think you could Photoshop your teacher's face. That's what we did on page, where is Luis? Page 18? 20. So the Buddha on page 20 is a close friend of ours. And Osiris's mom, we asked him and he hired her, but they photoshopped Louise's face onto the Buddha. So you could do it you could do that. That'd be great. How you see it, and then get a bunch of lion pictures off of Google Images and stick them in there, okay? And if you need help, then you would team up with somebody else who's good at Photoshop. You see what I mean? All right. Others? Other suggestions?
When I first moved out to Diamond Mountain to support the retreat, there was a song that arose that I had thought of for many years, and it was the Beatles singing Blackbird singing in the dead of night.
Yeah.
And it was so powerful for me. And maybe, after looking at where our life is going, and we have this choice to take the other path and seek enlightenment, we could play that song.
Yeah. Shelter.
Take these broken wings and learn to fly. Take these sunken eyes and learn to see.
I think segues are going to be a big deal in this attempt. I think they're going to be important. The transitions are going to be difficult. Somebody's going to dance something, and the next person has to do a poem. And then what do you do between? I don't want it to just stop and we're all sitting around and, waiting for the next thing. It would be nice to have songs like that to come up as the transition to the next theater piece or next dance or the next song, a recorded song. That could be a way to achieve the transitions, I think, that make it look less amateur, because we're all amateurs. Anyone else have an idea? We'll do 3 or 4 more minutes, and then I think most of us are really tired for the weekend, so we can go get some sleep.
I think, why is it feeding back? For the 4 modes of a teacher, I'm not sure what verse that was, but
it was the hands.
Oh, that's right.
And your homework is to figure out how it applies.
We could do something like either, I mean, it's still pretty vague to me, but like one musical piece that goes through the four modes, or 4 different musical pieces together, or some like music video compiled that really conveys the different modes.
Yeah, good. I was thinking you could take famous scenes from movies. I don't know. Kung Fu Panda. No. Yeah. Okay. I like that idea. I've always thought that to do the 4 modes on a stage or in music, it'd be really powerful. The first song is very peaceful, and then it gets expansive, and then it gets powerful, and then it gets severe. And that'd be great. You may have noticed that these exercises are going to drill the ideas into your mind. If you have to sit there for 12 hours and choose the music and do the segues in the music, you're never going to forget the 4 modes when it comes time to teach it to somebody. Okay? Next, anyone else? Paulino.
Okay, so in the review part, there's a picture with these 2 girls under an umbrella.
Yeah.
I was pictured them maybe in a dance, like someone with an umbrella and people around, maybe sick or suffering, and we can put as much people as we can under an umbrella, dancing, and maybe we can also use the Rihanna song, but I don't know exactly what it says, but okay. Like, yeah.
Brella. Yeah, it's a different generation, but I like what I heard from you was that maybe this on the stage starts with a bunch of people suffering. Some person looks sick, some person maybe even dead, some person sad because they lost their boyfriend or something on the stage. And then you show up, or somebody, with an umbrella, and you take the first person and you put the umbrella over, and then suddenly they get cured and they're under the umbrella with you. And then 2 of you go to the next person, and and then at the end everyone's under the umbrella and they're all giggly. Yeah, I like it. Something like that. If you perform in that piece, or you write that piece, you design that piece, you'll never forget the idea of refuge. You see, that's the point of doing a show. Okay, one more, and then let's go home. No, nobody else wants to do anything. Dennis, let's go.
So there's this play, Convergence, that just came out, and it was about a sweat lodge incident that kind of happened.
It's a play?
Well, it was a take from it. Like they took some of the ideas of the incident in memory of it.
Yeah.
So it was part of it was about a student and their teacher, and the teacher asked the student about faith and like things about their faith, and demanded that they look into their eyes while they were doing it. So whenever this person slipped, like the teacher got really fierce. So maybe we can steal some of that.
Yeah. Okay.
Material.
Okay. Cool. All right, then let's go home. We have a tradition in our lineage that at the end of the evening, because we've made so much good karma together, that we give the karma away to other people. So there's a little weird thing you do with your hands. If you know it, you can do it. If you don't know it, you can just go like this with me. And I'm going to ask Venerable Phil, who has a good singing voice and is going to lead his chorus later in something, to please do this prayer. Dhamma